It's the first time since April 26, 1995 that a team wearing the blue and white fleur-de-lis of the Quebec Nordiques has taken the ice in Montreal to face off against the Canadiens. 11,236 days, over 3 decades since the end of what was arguably the most intense and heated rivalry in the history of professional hockey. For previous generations of Habs fans, the Good Friday Massacre from 1984 stands out as one of the wildest moments in hockey history, while many of the current generation of Canadiens fans have never even had the chance to witness the Nordiques take the ice. Seeing the powder blue of Les Nordiques at the Bell Center is a throwback to an era never even witnessed for many, and hopefully some kind of foreshadowing to a time where La Belle Province can call itself home to 2 NHL franchises once again. As far as the matchup of the two teams taking the ice, now is about as good of a time as there's been all season for the Canadiens to come up against the NHL's clear-cut championship favorites, the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado 4-5-2 in their last 11 games. They are as vulnerable, quote-unquote, coming into this one as they will ever be. They've lost more games in regulation in their last 10 than they did in their previous 40 games. The Canadiens, meanwhile, are coming off of an OT win against the Vegas Golden Knights in which Jakub Dobes shone. He put forth what was arguably his best game since October. Goaltender coach Éric Raymond was fired and replaced by Marco Marciano. And he's had success when working with Dobes, he's had success working with Montembeault and Fowler as recently as this season with all three. And Jakub Dobes will almost certainly have to replicate that effort if the Canadiens hope to come away with a win against the NHL's top team. It was Jakub Dobes going up against Scott Wedgwood, and there were a couple of early shots for the Avalanche that were pushed aside by Dobes, kind of got him into the game, and after an early icing call on the Avs, the newly formed pair of Hudson and Dobson teamed up to give the Canadiens a 1-0 lead less than a minute into the game. Slavkovsky stepped in to help out Kapanen on the faceoff. He got the puck back to Hudson, who got everyone to bite as he worked the puck to his left to Noah Dobson. Dobson was able to crank a one-timer by Wedgwood, and it was a perfect start for Montreal. Now it's just a matter of building off of that effort, building off of that perfect start, because we all know one goal is not going to be nearly enough to put away Colorado. 4 minutes later though, Brock Nelson did a great job of using the body of Lane Hudson as an effective screen as he released a wrist shot from distance that handcuffed Jakub Dobes, and it was a shot that Dobes definitely should have had, and I'm sure if you asked him as much, he would tell you that as well. Nelson, who gave the Canadiens fits the last time these two teams met in Colorado, picked up right where he left off, bringing the game back even and putting the teams back at square one. Montreal was given a chance to go back ahead when Middleton took a penalty, and after an early scare on the power play where the Avs had a 2-on-1 rush shorthanded, the Canadiens got set up in the offensive zone. Demidov had space to work with near the top of the faceoff circle. He put a shot on net that Wedgwood was able to block, but the rebound came right out to Nick Suzuki, who was right there to put it home and restore the Canadiens' lead. A power play marker, and most importantly, another occasion where the Canadiens make the Avalanche pay for a mistake. Montreal undoes the damage done by the Brock Nelson goal and goes back ahead. Moments later, it seems like the seesaw battle is going to continue when Josh Anderson gets called for tripping. He sends the Avalanche to the power play, and it's been discussed to death, but the Canadiens' penalty kill and goaltending have to be better, and this is going to be the first test for the penalty kill. Well, not only did they kill the penalty off without allowing a shot, but Nick Suzuki outworked the Avs defenders. He won a race to a puck that was dumped towards center by Oliver Kapanen, found himself all alone on a breakaway, worked the puck over to his backhand and around Scott Wedgwood, putting home a shorthanded goal, the 9th allowed by the Avs this season, and it gives the Canadiens their 3rd goal of the game just 7.5 minutes into this one. And minus that one blip that was the goal by Brock Nelson, Montreal has looked otherworldly and totally dominant to start this one. Basically every scoring chance in this one resulted in a goal, and the shot totals weren't very high for either side. Demidov and Hudson continued to display their lethal chemistry together with some amazing chances for Demidov. I do have to say, Ivan Demidov has to do something about his sticks, because the number of splintered and broken twigs he's dealt with this season is just insane. It seems to happen almost once a game to him specifically. Montreal makes it into the intermission, up 3-1 on the scoreboard and outshooting the Avalanche 9-4. That first period was nearly perfect for the Montreal Canadiens. Definitely mission accomplished for the Habs up to this point. Now to follow it up over the next 40 minutes and make a statement against the Colorado Avalanche. And early in the second period, Colorado tried fighting back. An early chance by Necas was followed up by an offensive zone penalty by Cole Caulfield for high sticking, so the Avalanche power play had its second chance of the game to go on the power play. And this time it was Jakub Dobes who made all the difference for the penalty kill, racking up multiple saves and preserving the Canadiens' 2-goal advantage. The Avs started to just pile up the shots before Malinsky took a high-sticking penalty of his own. That sent the Canadiens to the power play. And while Montreal did have a few looks of their own on the power play, much like the Avalanche, they couldn't solve the goaltender and ended up striking out on this chance. Both teams then continued to trade chances back and forth, with both goaltenders making some good saves, but Jakub Dobes quickly became the story of the period, and it was apparent that that goal he allowed to Brock Nelson early in the first was clearly an outlier in this one, as he racked up multiple terrific looking stops to keep Montreal up by 2 goals. Dobes was just standing on his head, and it wasn't so much because Colorado was greatly outplaying the Canadiens, but just because Colorado's so talented that these chances are going to come one way or another. A bit of a scary moment when Caden Goalie took what initially looked like a brutal elbow to the head and went off injured. You immediately jump to the conclusion that this is another serious injury, he's gonna be out long term. And on the replay, it even looks like there's contact with his head from some angles, but when you get the right angle of it, you see the contact was primarily on Goolie's arm, and as he went off hurt, he slammed his helmet on the ground, basically confirming what everyone thought would be the worst, that he'd be gone for long term. But fortunately for Goalie and the Canadiens, he surprisingly returned a few minutes later, and he got back out on the ice. He implicated himself physically, he threw a huge hit, and then he even contributed on the score sheet with an assist. And the theme of the Canadiens capitalizing on the mistakes of the Colorado Avalanche just continued in this one. A dump in by Bolduc after he took a pass from Goalie led to Jake Evans rewarding the efforts of Jakub Dobes by catching Scott Wedgwood snoozing behind his own net, stole the puck right as he was planning on playing it, stuffed home a wraparound on a deserted net to extend the Habs lead to 4-1. A brutal mistake by Wedgwood, and the Canadiens were the beneficiaries. And things just continued to go badly for Wedgwood from that point on, when less than a minute later it was Kirby Dach's turn to slam home a puck from behind the net. He banked it off the foot of Wedgwood and into the Avalanche net. He put the Canadiens up 5-1. I don't think anyone would have predicted the Canadiens going up by 4 goals before the end of the second period, but given the way the entire team had performed, it's a totally merited result. Before the end of the period though, Joel Kiviranta was able to finally solve Jakub Dobes in this period. Dobes made a terrific save on Malinsky, but the rebound came right out to Kiviranta, and man, Dobes came oh so close to getting a piece of it, but he just couldn't get his outstretched arms onto it. Kiviranta finds the opening in the net, he cuts the Habs lead to 5-2, and the Canadiens go into the intermission up by 3 goals. It's still been a terrific job by the Canadiens, a terrific effort. They have looked phenomenal. They have 20 minutes to go to try to put away the elite of the NHL and the Colorado Avalanche. Let's see if they can do it. We move on to the third period, and Colorado showed they were not going down without a fight, and they came out swinging in the third. They held the puck in the Montreal zone for nearly the entire first 5 minutes of the period. They generated numerous looks, and predictably, it led to a goal. Ross Colton was able to hammer one home after a pass came out front to him from behind the net, and the Canadiens' 5-1 lead had now been reduced to just a 5-3 advantage. And you're starting to wonder, oh no, are these old habits creeping up? Are the Canadiens gonna find a way to blow this one? But Montreal replied in the most incredible way. An absolutely tremendous defensive play by Carrier and Dach. Carrier breaking up a pass, Dach blocking a shot. The puck finds its way to Suzuki, who breaks out on a 2-on-1 rush with Carrier. Carrier showed absolutely incredible speed to get himself some space. Suzuki delivered the perfect pass to him, a nice saucer pass over the defender, and then Carrier wires home the one-timer behind Wedgwood, and he extends the Canadiens' advantage to 6-3. Whereas in previous games it felt like the Canadiens would collapse or implode in catastrophic fashion, they showed tremendous fight and resolve to withstand that pressure from the absolute best of the NHL and show that they weren't just able to be competitive, but that they could beat any team in the league when they played to their potential. And Montreal continued to press on the gas offensively as well. Ivan Demidov, Yuri Slafkovsky just simply outworked the opposition. Slafkovsky got in close, picked up the puck, put the Habs' 7th goal into the net, and once again puts the Canadiens up by 4. Everything was coming up bleu, blanc et rouge in this one, and the crowd got more and more involved, serenading the team with the ole ole chants. I even caught them singing a rendition of Cream's Goodbye. and Jakub Dobes continued to sparkle, making more impressive saves as time wound down and putting his stamp on this game in the best kind of way. And for a team playing their final home game until February 26th, man, did the Montreal Canadiens give their home fans some kind of going away present, effectively curb stomping the Colorado Avalanche as if they were the Nordiques of the 80s. And they made a statement to the rest of the league that despite some recent struggles, they're not to be counted out in any way. Montreal hammers the Avalanche 7-3, some form of vengeance for the big loss Montreal suffered in Colorado. And yeah, it's obvious the Avs are a little bit diminished. They're not quite as strong as they were earlier in the season. But if you were to ask almost any hockey fan in the league right now, who's the best team in the NHL, the vast majority would just respond by naming the Colorado Avalanche. This was a tremendous win for the Canadiens, and they deserve to be praised for it, and they deserve to be proud of it. But they do need to keep their eyes on the prize, however. They cannot afford to just rest on their laurels after this win, because as great as this win was, it's still only worth 2 points, and they have to continue to string together these kind of results if they want to move up in the standings again. This was another game where the Canadiens' penalty kill outperformed the opposition's power play, and the Canadiens' goaltender was the best one on the ice, and it ends in a 7-3 win against the Avalanche. It improves the Canadiens' record to a staggering 18-6 against Western Conference teams. I almost wish they could just play teams from the West because man do they look great. And Montreal moves on to Saturday against Buffalo, and they absolutely have to do better against the Sabres than they have in their last 2 meetings. I'd be absolutely stunned if Jakub Dobes didn't get a 3rd straight start, but we'll soon find out. Anyway, you guys, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and have a great night, guys.